Thank you for watching. This is our PolicyCast talking about particulars in the President's budget. Again, we appreciate your interest. The budget the President's presented to us, I believe, is good for most New Mexico families. There is proposed increased assistance for education. A lot of families have children who are trying to get an education, or adults in the household who are trying to add to their educational qualifications. So this will help in that regard. There's also increased funding for Medicaid. A lot of people in New Mexico depend upon Medicaid for their health care. There is increased funding as well for the Indian Health Service and the services they provide to many Native Americans in New Mexico. So in those respects, it'll be a good budget for many New Mexico families. Yes, the proposed budget does include increased funding for the two national laboratories, Los Alamos and Sandia National Laboratories. There's increased funding for the defense-related work that they do because there's a need to refurbish some of the nuclear stockpile, but there's also increased funding for some of the technology areas that they have great strengths in, such as renewable energy. And there's also a lot of increased funding for non-proliferation activities to help reduce the danger of proliferation of nuclear weapons around the globe. So those are all areas of priority for the President and for the administration. They are also areas where we have great strengths at our national laboratories in New Mexico. Our military bases fared well. The administration has requested increased funding for some of the military facilities to improve health centers, to improve some of the hangars. Those are all positive improvements at our military bases. I don't see any real negative aspects of the President's budget as it relates to the three Air Force bases that we have in our state and White Sands Missile Range, which of course is under the auspices of the Army. Well, in the area of border security, the administration has requested that we put additional funds into the problem of drug smuggling across the border, into the problem of smuggling of weapons from the United States into Mexico, and cash, large quantities of cash as well. Unfortunately, that weapons and cash that is smuggled into Mexico has been a major part of the problem that we see with these drug cartels operating in Mexico. We also have proposed increased funding for the border training activities, particularly at Artesia, Border Patrol training activities, and FLETC, the Law Enforcement Training Academy, is well funded. I think this will be a good budget for them. Well, there is funding for the project that was contained in the Navajo-Gallup settlement legislation that we passed last year. There's $16 million requested, both for design of that pipeline project, but also to begin the process of acquiring right-of-way so that it can be constructed. There's also funding for the various federal agencies to do a better job of gathering data on the threats that we have to agriculture and other activities in our state because of the anticipated arid conditions in future years. This is the Secure Water Act legislation that we passed also last year, and the administration has asked for funds to implement that, which I'm very glad to see. Again, thanks for watching. I think this is useful for us to get this information out. I hope it's interesting and useful to you as well.